Have you ever wondered what the actual DNA of a next generation lesson plan looks like? Well, today we are unpacking a highly specific set of instructions. It's an actual raw prompt designed to generate a premium 30 to 60-minute educational script focused entirely on malware analysis. What we're looking at here in this explainer is essentially the structural code for a 2026 cybersecurity masterclass. By breaking down exactly what this prompt demands, we can really see just how complex, dense, and rigorously structured modern educational content is becoming. So, to make sense of all 27 raw requirements, we've organized our explainer today into 4 logical pillars. First, the expert persona. Second, core theory and practice. Third, the professional career edge. And finally, assessment and future scope. All right, let's dive into section 1, the expert persona. Subtitle here is Engineering the Ultimate Instructor. Now, this prompt doesn't just ask for some generic teacher. Oh no, it demands a voice that combines 8 distinct, high-level cybersecurity roles into one single identity. We are talking about a senior engineer, ethical hacker, SOC analyst, pen tester, forensics expert, cloud architect, malware analyst, and an instructor. Oh, and on top of all that, they need over 20 years of experience. It's essentially asking the AI to role-play as the ultimate cybersecurity unicorn. This is a wildly demanding profile, but it ensures whoever or whatever is teaching this material has deep, multidisciplinary expertise that spans the entire industry. And this part brilliantly illustrates a massive dual challenge. On one hand, we have the demand for absolute accessibility. Literally everything must be explained in very simple English so absolute beginners can keep up. But balancing that out on the other side, the content must be detailed enough to take someone all the way up to a freelance professional level. It's a masterclass in walking the tightrope between extreme technical depth and total accessibility. It forces the generated content to constantly translate highly complex malware concepts into language anyone can grasp, without ever dumbing down the actual science. So, the really crucial point here is the context of where this all fits in. This massive 30 to 60-minute script, it isn't even a standalone course. It is literally just day 23 of a sprawling 30-day overarching curriculum. Specifically, it lands in week 4, which is focused entirely on professional cybersecurity. Just imagine sitting through the full 30-day masterclass if this staggering level of detail is required for just a single day. It really highlights the sheer ambition of comprehensive digital education today. Moving right along, let's look at Section 2, Core Theory and Practice, Balancing the Virtual Classroom. This blueprint absolutely demands a seamless bridge from the textbook straight to the terminal. On the academic side of things, it requires a professional introduction, complete theoretical breakdowns, visual explanations, and text-based diagrams to make sure those foundational concepts are rock solid. But it refuses to just stop at theory. The prompt immediately pivots to practical elements, real-world examples, a practical demonstration, and a live lab. It forces the lesson to prove the theory by actually showing it in action. That way, learners aren't just memorizing dry definitions, they're watching them execute in a simulated environment. And to keep the content highly relevant for 2026, the prompt doesn't just want historical data. It explicitly requires the absolute latest cyber attacks and modern AI workflows. This makes sure the student isn't learning outdated methods, right? They're deeply grounded in the current reality of the field. By demanding the inclusion of specific AI tools related to malware analysis, it acknowledges how rapidly the industry is shifting toward automation and machine learning. Toss in security tips and proper references, and you've got a curriculum that feels urgently modern and immediately applicable. Okay, let's shift gears to Section 3, the professional career edge, bridging the gap to employment. Notice how this blueprint actively builds the student's resume. The script must directly tie the malware analysis lesson to the specific knowledge required for 5 major industry certifications. It strategically references the CEH, Security Plus, PNPT, the highly practical OSCP, and the management-level CISSP. It's making absolutely sure the learner knows exactly which exam this specific knowledge will help them pass. It's essentially transforming a theoretical lesson into a direct stepping stone toward highly sought-after professional credentials. But hey, we all know passing a test isn't exactly the same as landing a job. By specifically asking for industry best practices, common mistakes, professional workflow examples, and actual interview questions, the curriculum is designed to help students survive a grueling technical interview. It's engineering the lesson to anticipate the pitfalls a junior analyst might face and proactively correcting them long before the student ever steps foot in a security operations center. It's just a brilliant way to cultivate real-world intuition. The blueprint pushes even further into the real world here.
The prompt explicitly demands actual salary information and a career roadmap. Furthermore, keeping right in line with the course's goal of training freelance professionals, it requires a freelancer perspective alongside actual examples of client projects. This totally bridges the gap between theory and reality, answering that fundamental question every learner has. Okay, but how do I actually make a living doing this? It paints a complete picture of the lifestyle, the expectations, and the financial reality of the role.
And that brings us to Section 4, Assessment and Future Scope, Proving the Knowledge. Because, let's be real, learning without testing is really just reading. This escalation perfectly maps the student's testing journey. The prompt requires the generation of a homework assignment for immediate recall, followed by a mini project for applied practice. Then, it steps up to a full project for deep comprehension and finishes off with a rigorous 20-question quiz to formally validate all that knowledge. It's a comprehensive web of accountability that ensures the dense material from the past 30 to 60 minutes is actively retained and proven.
Finally, to cleanly wrap up the actual generated script, the prompt demands 3 specific closing elements: a clear summary to refresh the key points, a reminder of why this topic matters to reinforce the overarching value of the lesson, and an exploration of the future scope of the field. This ensures the student doesn't just walk away with today's facts, but with their eyes firmly fixed on exactly where the industry is heading tomorrow.
Which leaves us with a fascinating thought to close out our explainer today. As we step back and look at this incredibly dense, highly structured 27-point prompt, balancing a 20-year veteran persona, simple English, live labs, AI tools, and rigorous testing, is this hyper-detailed blueprint the new ultimate standard? As we move closer to 2026, is this exactly how we will be designing all premium educational content? It's a blueprint that demands absolutely nothing short of perfection, and it certainly leaves us wondering just how much further learning will continue to evolve